สวัสดีค่ะ Thank you for joining us for the evening edition of NBT World Brief on NBT and NBT World. You're with me, Sandra Han Utsaha. We begin with developments from the Prime Minister. Prime Minister and Minister of Interior ANUTIN said recent discussions with Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet were conducted on a diplomatic basis, focusing on mutual understanding and regional cooperation. He also emphasized that no talks were held regarding the reopening of border checkpoints. Prime Minister ANUTIN clarified that the brief interaction took place on the sidelines of the ASEAN-Russia Special Summit during a short break in proceedings. He described the meeting as a customary exchange between leaders and urged the public not to be concerned, confirming that border gate issues were not part of the discussion. He said the conversation reflected an effort to explore constructive solutions to bilateral matters, emphasizing that Thailand cannot remain in prolonged disagreement with neighboring countries. Any approach, he added, must ensure that Thailand does not suffer disadvantages and is not placed in a weaker position. The Prime Minister reiterated the country's firm stance in upholding its national interests and that any engagement with neighboring countries must be carefully balanced and result in mutual benefit whenever possible. The Prime Minister also confirmed that Thailand's position remains consistent in adhering to international legal mechanisms, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, as well as other relevant diplomatic frameworks in addressing regional issues. Moving on, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister SIHASAK highlighted the importance of adaptability in global affairs, saying countries must remain flexible and independent as the world moves toward a more multipolar balance of power. Speaking in an interview with RT correspondent Donald Corder, Deputy Prime Minister SIHASAK said the post-World War II international system no longer reflects present-day realities and should better represent emerging powers and the global South. He said Thailand faces increasing geopolitical, geoeconomic, and technological competition, requiring a flexible foreign policy approach that protects national interests while avoiding alignment with rival powers.
For countries like Thailand, we're caught in the middle of geopolitical competition, geoeconomic competition, geotechnology competition. So we have to, to do our best. We have to have a diplomacy that's agile. We don't take sides, but we take stand on positions of concern to us on matters of principles.
Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister SIHASAK went on to stress the importance of ASEAN unity, saying stronger regional cooperation would help Southeast Asian nations navigate growing global uncertainty. He added that maintaining strategic autonomy has become more difficult in today's rapidly changing environment, but remains essential for long-term stability and balanced international relations. In domestic affairs, the Ministry of Interior has conducted an inspection of a disaster preparedness drill in UBON RATCHATHANI province. The exercise underscores coordinated readiness among relevant agencies with the aim of reducing potential losses and enhancing public safety ahead of the upcoming flood season. Deputy Minister of Interior Thai visited UBON RATCHATHANI to observe the provincial disaster prevention and mitigation exercise for flood situations in 2026, while also reviewing the readiness of relevant agencies. UBON RATCHATHANI Governor Narong Thepsena said the province, located downstream of the Moon River, Chi River, and Makong River basins, faces high risks of flooding, flash floods, and rapid water surges. He said the drill integrates all sectors to strengthen disaster response capacity and ensure maximum preparedness. Deputy Minister Jay Seth said the government places strong importance on disaster management with an emphasis on proactive measures. These include flood response planning, early warning systems, emergency assistance, medical support, evacuation procedures, the establishment of temporary shelters, and post-disaster recovery operations. Following the briefing, the deputy minister said his delegation inspected a temporary shelter at Hue Muang Public Park. The site review included registration systems, food and drinking water services, mobile kitchens, psychological support units, and activities for affected residents. He stressed that temporary shelters must meet safety standards and ensure quality of life for all groups of people, especially children, the elderly, persons with disabilities, and bedridden patients, in order to provide effective and humane disaster support services. On the international cooperation front, the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or NACC, has joined global and regional partners in hosting a major anti-corruption conference. The event focuses on strengthening transparency, advancing digital governance, and enhancing cross-border efforts to combat cybercrime and online scam networks. The NACC, in cooperation with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime and related agencies, hosted the 4th Southeast Asia Anti-Corruption Conference under the theme Anti-Corruption Innovation, Strengthening Transparency and Governance in the Digital Era. The conference featured discussions on a range of key issues, including governance in the digital age, transparency of beneficial ownership, and integrity risks facing the business sector from emerging cyber technologies. Michaela Freeberg-Story, United Nations resident coordinator in Thailand, said the event provided an important opportunity to promote integrity, transparency, and stronger governance across Southeast Asia, while encouraging new ideas to improve the fight against cybercrime. She said enhanced international cooperation in suppressing cyber-related corruption and online criminal activity would strengthen economic confidence and reinforce Thailand's long-term capabilities as the country moves toward membership in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD. NACC Commissioner Patharasak Wanasang said corruption schemes have become increasingly sophisticated, with offenders using advanced technologies to avoid detection, making innovation essential in anti-corruption efforts. He said authorities must adopt both systematic and legal innovations to improve regulations and reduce loopholes that allow discretionary abuse by state officials. He added that management technologies and integrated database systems are also needed to support investigations into cross-border corruption cases and to counter growing cyber threats more effectively. And that brings us to the end of our evening edition of NBT World Brief. Stay updated with the latest developments on NBT and NBT World. And for more stories, simply scan the QR code on your screen to access our full coverage across all media platforms. Until next time, I'm Sandra Han Utsaha. สวัสดีค่ะ